just wonder what his value is in the offseason. That'd be fascinating to get into on the Morning Roast once this season is over. Maybe the season lasts till June. You never know. Who knows?
Who's been the most one of the most clutch players in the NBA this year, you think?
Clutch?
Yeah, if you were to go like a top 10, Well,
Jokic, Murray, Luka, Kyrie,
Gilgeous-Alexander,
SGA,
okay,
Jalen Williams.
So I'd like to stop on SGA for just a second.
De'Aaron Fox.
Yes. He's 25 years old, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. His first year in the league, he averaged, give or take, you're looking at the minutes played.
Well, he's on the Clippers.
About 26 minutes a game.
He wasn't really playing on the Clippers.
20 years old, all right? And then he gets traded to OKC. Now, they were terrible. They're not in the same situation that the Warriors are in currently. But I look at his minutes per game, 35, 34, 35, 36, 35.
On a bad team, correct?
I'm just giving you his minutes per game.
But I'm not asking because there's context to everything, right?
Are the Warriors a good team this year?
Well, they didn't think they were not going to be a good team. They have championship players.
I'm just saying.
Hold on. The situation is different, Shasky. Let's be fair here.
Yeah?
SGA went to an Oklahoma City team that you laughed at me about 2 years ago because I told you SGA was good. You ripped me for that one.
Yes, you're right.
Now you're coming around Sunday and you bring this up. But there's context to everything. He was on the bad basketball team.
But the Warriors have been bad for multiple years.
Shasky, he was allowed to play through that because they were bad and they knew they were going to be bad. The Warriors still have Steph Curry, who's a top 10 player in this league. And they still have Draymond Green, and they still have Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins, and they had a belief coming into the year. And maybe it was delusion, and it's turned around that, you know what, maybe they're not as good as they thought they were. But they still had that championship core. Oklahoma City had nobody.
No,
it was SGA's team from day number one, and he was allowed to play through the mistakes. When you have a championship core, and you're going to the second round of the playoffs last season, and you're trying to play this season with your championship core, you bring in CP3, you're trying to win games. So you're not going to give a young guy an opportunity to play through the mistakes on a team like this.
But you don't get to see the fruit ripen if you don't allow it to oxidize a little, right? You have to allow the individual to play.
I understand that. I understand that. But the situation is completely different.
But then this is what I would say to you. They made an organizational mistake by having any young players on this team if you're never going to allow some of the promising ones to play through mistakes.
That's what I'm saying. But the situation is different. All I'm doing, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree. I wanted JK to play last year just as much as anybody. I was yelling about that until I was blue in the face. I thought last season was about the veterans not coming through and the youngsters. It was like two different teams. There was the whole two-timeline thing and two different teams. Yeah, Poole, Wiseman, and Kuminga and Moody playing together. It didn't work. Didn't work out. But don't give me this SGA got to play in OKC. OKC had no expectations whatsoever.
No, the bigger point,
they were
you're missing
rebuilding.
the point.
No, I'm not missing the point.
That I'm trying
it's a
to make
completely
is
different situation.
How?
OKC has no expectations.
But
they weren't raising banners. They weren't going to the playoffs. They have 1 million first-round picks. The situation with the Golden State Warriors was completely different than OKC's.
The Warriors need young players to develop so that they can actually be good for the interim and for the future. So there's no point in having any young players on your team if you're not going to allow them the opportunity to make the mistakes.
I understand that.
So we can argue about OKC being a dumpster fire.
No, but you're not understanding that the Warriors have a Steph Curry. They have a Draymond Green. They have a Klay Thompson.
Yeah,
they have champions.
Let's go back to the Spurs. Hold on.
Shaq's going to be finished. They just won a championship. They come back the next season and essentially bring back the same team.
Mm-hmm.
So where's the youngsters going to play on a team that just won a championship?
You lost Otto Porter Jr., who played heavy minutes for you.
He was a spot player at certain points.
You lost Andre Iguodala, who was a big part of the 18-2 start.
Iguodala didn't play much in 2022. He was hurt for most of the
At the beginning of the year, he did.
Come on, he played a little bit, but let's not act like he was saying 40 minutes a night.
You're asking me, and I'm answering, right? Like, so you played Tony Parker early on if you're the Spurs. You played Ginobili. Like, even though they had championship aspirations early on with those teams, there's no point in having this many young players if you're never going to allow them the opportunity to grow. And now we're in year 3, year 4, and we don't know if these guys are any good or not.
Hold on. Let's pause on that. You have 2 rookies playing heavy minutes now.
Yes.
And Trace Jackson-Davis and Brandon Pajewski.
Yes.
So that has flipped. Number 1. That has flipped. Number 2, Kuminga's playing over 30 minutes since January 5th. But last season, coming off a championship season, you're going to ride the course saying we could run this back and win a championship. That was the aspirations for this team and this organization. It was championship or bust. When the hell has it been a championship or bust for SGA? SGA can lose in the first round this year, and everybody in Oklahoma City is going to say, that's okay. So the runway to play the youngsters was just not there because you had a championship core trying to run it back. You don't have patience to play young guys.
They closed with Anthony Lamb at times last year.
That's on Kerr. I get
but
that.
That's my
I get
point.
that.
But this is my point. You're saying there was no runway, and I was saying there was always a runway. You have to create those opportunities.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that. OKC and the Warriors are in two completely different situations.
How many games did Anthony Lamb close last year?
Steve Kerr trusted him. I don't know how many games he exactly closed. I don't know if he closed. Maybe he played important minutes. But at the final five for most games was Steph, Clay, Dre, Wiggins, Looney, or am I missing Wiggins? Who else am I missing there? Oh, Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole. That was your final five for most of the nights. Anthony Lamb wasn't closing a lot of games.
Bonte, like this thing that we're not going to allow any youngsters to get any run. This team desperately needed youth to get up and down the floor with them.
I yelled
and then
about
now
that
we're in year 3,
Shasky.
and we're going to be in year 4, and we're talking about a couple of months of Jonathan Kuminga getting 30 minutes. Like, again, the point is for these young players to play, you should have known heading into the season, even though you have championship aspirations, when you're not going to play Steph Curry over 30, 32 minutes a game, all right? When you're not going to do it. You're telling me while you're fighting for a playoff spot that you're not going to overuse him. Then why haven't you used the young guys? So to me, there's this giant contradiction. Both the organization, the coach, the players, we're all over the place.
How many years have the SGA been in this league?
6.
6 years.
Yeah.
How many years?
You're hung up on SGA.
No,
I'm making the bigger point about minutes played.
You're not even hearing me.
Minutes played.
You're not even hearing me. You're not even hearing me. It's two completely different situations. He's in year 6, and sure, he's played a lot of minutes over the last 3-4 years. Kuminga did not play a lot of minutes last year, and I get why he didn't play a lot of minutes last year. I believe he deserved more minutes, but it wasn't there. Why? Because you got a championship core. That's what it is. That's what it was. I wanted Kuminga to play last year more than anybody at this damn station. It didn't work out.
The metaphor I'm making is that you don't get to just have players develop in a tiny vacuum. They need to develop with a long runway.
I understand.
And so when you don't give anyone a long runway, you're literally hamstringing your own players.
I understand that. I understand that completely. I'm with you 100% on that. But you're not going to get a long runway on a championship team. Last year, Shasky, was the Warriors not the defending champions?
Yeah.
Were they not
won
talking
11
about
games on the road?
Yeah, but they won 30 away from home. Why did they win on the road? Anyway, all I'm saying is they had championship aspirations. What is not baked into that? Their final 5 was Poole, Wiggins, Steph, Clay, and Draymond, and sometimes Kevon Looney. You're not going to get along the runway on a young team when you have a veteran coach like Steve Kerr. You make a couple mistakes, he's not having the patience for you. That's just what it was.
Yeah.
Now they're getting that runway in year number 3. He's getting the runway. Pods and TJG's getting the runway. But you're in different situations. They're completely different situations.
The metaphor of allowing young players to develop and thrive is going to stand whether the team is garbage or not. If we're not saying 5 young players playing all at once, you have to be able to give one young player the opportunity to prove that he belongs and allow them to play through the mistakes.
But when
They've allowed Podziemski this year, which I'm glad they have, to play through his mistakes. They've allowed TJD, and he's brought more to the table, but to play through the mistakes. And that is growth. But I'm saying at the end of the day, like, I need Kuminga to close every single game from here to the end.
Kuminga wasn't ready last season to do that, to get that runway. It wasn't going to work with Draymond and Curry. They didn't have the patience for that. The veterans wanted to play with veterans. Now, maybe you could disagree with them, and maybe there's an argument there. But that runway that SGA had in OKC to play, you're not going to get that on the championship team. Steve Kerr's not going to be patient. Last year was last year. He's not going to be patient with these guys. It's just not when you have a championship type of culture.
So, but why are we patient with Andrew Wiggins?
Well, it's different because he's a veteran who helped you win the championship and was your second best player winning the championship.
Yeah, but
you get that benefit of the doubt, right? Do you not get that benefit of the doubt with Andrew Wiggins?
But Jordan Poole was also a guy that brought a lot of great to the table, and that all dissipated immediately with this team. So I've seen them organizationally move off of someone and ice that person out, even though they've done a lot of great things in the playoffs. And I think Wiggins Wiggins' contributions in the playoffs were greater than JP's, but we're acting like Wiggins is one of the original core 3 guys. He's not.
But he was your second best player during the championship season.
Yeah, that was his great 3-month run.
And when you do that, and when you make an all-star game, and you do that, and you're a two-way player who guards at the point of attack, who's your best individual defender at this point, even this season, he's probably your best individual defender. I mean,
is he?
It is.
I don't think he's played like that.
He hasn't played like it, but on this team, who has played like it? This defense is getting cooked left and right.
Who's my best individual defensive player?
Who's your best individual defensive player right now?
That's a great question. Maybe GP2?
He's playing spot minutes.
But I'm just trying to answer. Like maybe GP2,
but it's not definitive. The fact that it's not definitive shows you how leaky this defense has been.
I think Kuminga. I think personally, watching every night, and I'm sure there's advanced numbers. Defense is hard to quantify. I think Kuminga's been far and away better than Wiggins at every level.
I don't disagree.
And I'm tired of us giving Wiggins all of this leeway and stuff like. Okay, we can have sensitivity, but that doesn't mean we need to play him.
Nobody's giving Wiggins leeway, but I understand why he's playing. You're just not going to let $100 million on a 15-man roster just rot. You got to try to find something out of him. You got to play him at some point on this team. Who's like, as much as I like Moses Moody, is Moody a better player than Andrew Wiggins?
Look, why is Moody on the roster if you're not going to flip it over to take a look at it?
I don't know. That's
this goes back to connectivity. I know that they moved off of the GM last year, and I'm looking at it this year because there was a lot of disconnect between what the organization put together and what the coach was looking for. Like the coach was playing Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb, and they had younger players that they were not playing. So there was clearly a disconnect. I don't know why Moses Moody's on this roster if we're not going to look at him.
But we're also we're bitching about minutes. We act like JK didn't average 21 minutes a game last season as a 20-year-old. On a team coming off a championship season.
Yeah, but Anthony Lamb and Ty Jerome doubled his minutes.
No, they played 19 minutes a game.
No, but he had a lot of DNPs, which skew the numbers. So you got to bake that into it. Yeah, because if you look at overall minutes allocated.
I'm just saying.
Look up overall minutes.
I'm just saying.
Anthony Lamb had way more minutes overall, just the totality of the year.
All right, so overall minutes. Jonathan Kuminga, 1,394 minutes. Anthony Lamb at 1,195 minutes.
There we go.
So Kuminga played more minutes than Anthony Lamb. He played more overall minutes than Anthony Lamb last year.
Okay.
Did he not? You just asked me. I just told you.
Did you not see Anthony Lamb play more minutes in crucial situations than Jonathan Kuminga?
You said overall minutes.
Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb combined had more minutes.
He played overall minutes. They're two players. Of course, they're going to play more minutes. They're two players compared to one. What are you talking about?
I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about.
You're not going to have a runway playing youngsters on a team like this coming off a championship season. It's just not. Where you been? It's not going to happen. That's all I'm saying.
I've been the guy who's been claiming that Clay should come off the bench for 2 years, and I've been right.
Oh, yeah, you've been right.
Has his numbers not been better? That's who I am. That's the guy I am.
He made threes. He made the most threes last year. You also compared him to Kyle Korver. It mentioned him in assistants with Max Strus and Kyle Korver. And how's that wearing? Kyle Korver can't hold Klay Thompson's jockstrap, man. Stop playing out here.